é um dos maiores enigmas da arqueologia.
A scroll etched in pure copper containing a text that many archaeologists believe to be a treasure map leading to a fortune of unimaginable wealth.
$3 billion in gold and silver.
It's the most exciting and mysterious archaeological find, I believe, ever made in the Holy Land.
Quem terá sido responsável pela criação do manuscrito de cobre? E se for mesmo o mapa de um tesouro, onde estará ele escondido?
I'm in search of one of history's most enduring mysteries, the Copper Scroll.
A minha vida de arqueólogo levou-me aos 4 cantos do mundo, na tentativa de desvendar os mistérios dos nossos antepassados. Chamo-me Michael Arbuthnot e este é o Mundo dos Secretos.
Welcome to the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is actually right over there to my right. Now, this was the transportation of choice for centuries for the Bedouin that called the Judean desert their home. I have a feeling this thing is just going to take off.
Vim a Israel
Come on.
para tentar resolver um enigma.
Let's go.
Um mistério que intriga arqueólogos e caçadores de tesouros. Este árido recanto do planeta foi palco de uma das descobertas mais importantes do século XX. Os manuscritos do Mar Morto, que incluem as mais antigas cópias de livros da Bíblia. O local mais perto em que foram encontrados os manuscritos foi numa povoação antiga, abandonada há quase 2000 anos. Qumran.
This is Qumran. It was once home to a Jewish sect. And right over there, in those hills, is where archaeologists found the Dead Sea Scrolls. This hillside is full of caves.
Oh, yeah.
Para vermos onde estiveram escondidos os manuscritos durante séculos, vou ao encontro do arqueólogo israelita Danny Herman.
Here is cave number 11 now, right in front of us.
That's
the last one to be discovered.
Well, when were the scrolls found?
The first one was found in 1947.
Okay.
The famous story is a Bedouin looking for his lost goat, finds one of these type of caves and it's too dark, he's too afraid to just walk in, but he throws a rock and he hears a jar breaking. Then he gets intrigued and he finds the first of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This is a written text from 2,000 years ago,
2,000 years?
from the days of the temple, from the days of Jesus.
The papyrus and the leather managed to stay intact?
Yeah, you can feel it. You have to come here to realize how can it happen. It's so hot and dry here. It preserves. There's no humidity in the air.
Let's go explore.
But look, it really does go deep inside.
Yeah, I tell you, there could definitely still be artifacts in here. See all this rubble here on the cave floor? This is all collapsed from the ceiling above. Who knows what could have possibly been buried underneath this rubble.
Until you find bedrock, there's always potential of finding more.
Now, with regards to the Copper Scroll, where was that found?
Cave number 3.
3.
Yeah. Want to see it?
Let's go.
Let's go.
O primeiro dos manuscritos descobertos acabou por ser vendido por $250 mil. Logo de seguida, beduínos e arqueólogos correram a procurar em centenas de grutas. Aliás, a gruta em que estava o manuscrito de cobre foi a única descoberta por arqueólogos.
Well, I guess if you're gonna hide a scroll somewhere, it's not a bad idea to make it a real pain to find the hiding place.
Well, and you know what? It worked.
Yeah.
Here we are.
This is Cave 3.
The scroll was found in 1952.
The Copper Scroll right here?
Yeah. You can just open and read it.
Right.
2,000-year-old copper sheet, but the metal itself is already intriguing. Why, invest? Metal back then was very expensive.
Yeah,
okay? Something very, very special is happening here.
Where'd they find it?
Somebody wanted it to be preserved for a longer time than papyrus or leather. It's the most exciting and mysterious archaeological find, I believe, ever made in the Holy Land. To this day, I don't think there's anything that matches it. Especially because I could read on the outside that it's got letters on it, indicating gold and silver.
You think it's out here somewhere?
Might be. Maybe it's still waiting for us.
So where's the Copper Scroll now?
The real one, the real thing is now in Amman, presented in the Archaeological National Museum there.
Jordan.
Jordan. You gotta go there to see it.
Well, that's where I'm going.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you so much.
Mas antes de ir à Jordânia, faço um pequeno desvio.
Well, this is the Dead Sea. It's actually the lowest spot on Earth, 1,200 feet below sea level. And I'm told that you can float in the Dead Sea in as little as 2 inches of water, so I'm going to give it a shot.
Este mar interior é um dos corpos de água mais salgados do planeta. E nada consegue viver nele. Nem peixes, nem sequer algas. O que tornou isto uma das primeiras termas de que há memória. Hoje podem tomar-se banhos de lama em spas na sua costa. Ou fazê-lo por conta própria.
You know, honestly, there's probably some really good therapeutic qualities to this mud. It's sold internationally as a skincare product. And you can see that I'm deep in the process of trying to heal myself here. But I better head back into the water and wash some of this off.
Comecemos então a nossa busca. Saio de Israel para leste do Mar Morto, rumo a Amã, capital da Jordânia, uma das cidades mais antigas do mundo. Mal chegamos, sentimos-nos rodeados do riquíssimo legado da Jordânia. Por todo o país há vestígios de antigos governantes, persas, gregos, romanos. Mas o manuscrito de cobre está cá, porque quando o descobriram em 1952, a região do Mar Morto pertencia à Jordânia. Hoje, o manuscrito é uma das peças mais importantes do Museu Jordano de Arqueologia.
It's right here.
Yeah. As you see, they are displayed in 3 showcases.
Yeah.
Aida Nagawi, a diretora do museu, disse-me que para o lerem, em 1955, o manuscrito foi para a Inglaterra, onde o cortaram em 23 tiras.
And they take care not to damage even a single letter.
Uma réplica do manuscrito revela o seu tamanho original, 2,40 metros.
What language?
It's slang Hebrew.
Do you read slang Hebrew?
No, I can't even read the Hebrew, original Hebrew.
Traduções do manuscrito revelam uma lista que descreve cripticamente 64 locais, cada um com parte de um tesouro escondido, a maior parte em ouro e prata.
In the tomb of the third section of stones, there are 100 gold bars, silver and gold votive vessels. At the mouth of the underground cavity in Oslo sit 200 talents of silver.
O tesouro era tão grande que os primeiros tradutores anunciaram que o manuscrito era apenas folclore. E como desde então não se encontrou nenhum tesouro, alguns ainda pensam assim.
There is a treasure. Maybe it's a story. They hear it from their ancestors. Sometimes they exaggerate everything.
Mas um manuscrito como este não pode ser facilmente ignorado.
That's a lot of writing.
Sure.
Especially if there's no treasure. Why would you spend all that time, right?
It could be. Might be.
De facto, atualmente, muitos arqueólogos estão convencidos de que o manuscrito de cobre é uma lista genuína de tesouros escondidos. Quem se daria a todo este trabalho se isto fosse só uma lenda? Estou em Amã, na Jordânia.
It's a busy market. A lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. Hi.
Sede de uma cultura repleta de tradições.
For cooking. Flavor. Yes. I got those in my garden at home. I didn't know I could eat them.
Muita gente ficou obcecada com a descodificação do manuscrito de cobre. Um fascínio a que eu não escapo ao percorrer as ruas coloridas de Amã.
Check out these water pipes. The question is, what in the world do they smoke in them? And where can I get some?
Para conhecer a forma como os jordanos a praticam há séculos, o meu novo amigo, Fi Ez, ensina-me a arte do uká.
I'm all good to go. I just put some of this.
Garantem-me que é só tabaco temperado com uva.
It tastes really nice.
You feel the flavor?
Yeah, I do. I feel it. It's like bzzz. Have you ever heard of the Copper Scroll? It's 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
It talks about a lot of treasures. Nobody has ever found any of the treasure. So where is it? The treasure?
I don't know.
Quem teria escrito o manuscrito de cobre?
Excuse me.
Para saber mais sobre o mundo que o criou, volto a Israel, a Jerusalém. Os primeiros manuscritos do Mar Morto a serem descobertos estão aqui, no Santuário do Livro.
I've been wanting to see the Dead Sea Scrolls for years, and this is a facsimile of the most complete scroll that was found. It is amazing. It's actually a lot longer than I expected, and it is so well intact, it's just remarkable.
Este manuscrito é uma cópia à tinta sobre pergaminho com mais de 2000 anos. Em contraste, o manuscrito de cobre é o único dos do Mar Morto gravado em metal. Criá-lo exigiu uma técnica muito diferente. Para saber como foi feito, encontro-me com uma académica hebraica, Sherry Whitstone, que teve uma abordagem única ao estudo do manuscrito de cobre. Fez, ela própria, uma cópia.
How did they do it? I mean, that is the question.
Well, the question is a very good question, and I think the answer is they used a punch.
A punch.
If you can get in real close, you can see these letters are made up of a series of punches. So you simply take your little letter here, I'm getting it right there, and you give it a nice big whack. Would you like to try it?
Yeah, please.
Here, you want to try this letter right here? It's a fairly straight line right there.
All right, here we go.
Very good. Now do it up a little bit higher. See? You punched all the way through. Look at that. There's no problem.
I went right through the copper.
One of the arguments is that this was written by a person who was completely illiterate in Hebrew because the letters are so awkward. But you saw yourself in just a few moments and just attempting to write one letter, how difficult it is to do.
Yes, I
so
did.
it certainly could have been a person who was literate in Hebrew, but it's the material you're working with is extremely difficult because after you completed about 4 or 5 lines, the copper becomes so work hardened and so stiff that you can't punch anymore. What will happen is your punch, when you try to attempt to make a letter, will just slide.
So just by pounding the copper, it actually hardens it.
That's right.
What do you do?
You do a process that's called annealing. There you go.
2,000 years ago, what are you using?
You probably had a small forge of some sort, and that small forge could easily get this hot.
Really? Okay.
Can you see the copper
Yeah,
starting
it's actually
to change color?
changing. Yeah, up. Well, just in time for the
Okay.
thing to run out. But yeah, you can see clearly.
Not quite
white
cherry
almost.
red, but you can see it's beginning to turn. I don't want to touch it with my hands, but if you want to see what a piece of copper looks like after it's been annealed, this was identical to this before you came. Try bending this one.
Oh wow, yeah, this actually bends really easily. Very pliable. You can do all kinds of stuff. Now this one, that side is hot, but let me see what it would be like trying to bend this. I mean, not so easy. I can do it.
But it's difficult.
But this is a lot more difficult to bend. So the process to me just seems like it got a lot more time consuming.
Exactly.
You're pounding it, your arm's hurting, now you have to heat it up.
And then you have to quench it, cool it off, because obviously we're not going to work on that for a bit until
Okay.
it gets cooled off.
Right.
And then you do another third of a page, and then you have to stop and do the whole process again.
So if there was no treasure, you know, somebody would be spending a lot of time creating this scroll for nothing.
That would be my opinion as well, yeah.
Alguém se deu a muito trabalho para gravar este manuscrito e garantir que ele durasse. Mas quem e o que os levou a fazê-lo? Para o saber, encontro-me com o historiador judeu Meir Ailon, em frente ao Monte do Templo, o local mais sagrado da cidade.
Most scholars believe that we are talking about reality. It's not a fiction.
De facto, Meir pensa que o manuscrito foi gravado aqui, em Jerusalém, por um sacerdote do antigo templo judaico.
Because priests were people who were in charge of the temple, and he talks about vessels that only priests have to do with. And he talks about the graveyard of the high priest. Listen, most people do not know where the graveyard of the high priest. He knows. In antiquity, a temple is not only a sanctified place, it's a sacred place, but it was also a treasure place.
Embora seja agora santuário muçulmano, a Cúpula da Rocha, no Monte do Templo existiu um templo enorme construído pelo rei Herodes o Grande, em cerca de 20 a.C. Os romanos destruíram o templo quando esmagaram uma revolta dos judeus, não muito depois do tempo de Cristo. Para Meir Ailon, terá sido a revolta que levou os sacerdotes a gravar o manuscrito de cobre.
We are talking about a priest who was thinking of what would have happened after the war. And he wanted to make sure that the treasures of the temple will be safe.
A teoria ajuda a explicar a curiosa linguagem do manuscrito.
He gives you such definitions like, it's under the grave. Listen, there are so many graves here that you really cannot tell. It sounds bizarre, but looking from the perspective of the writer, I don't think it's bizarre at all, because he doesn't want you to know. He wants. It was a kind of memorandum for himself. So he did it for himself, not for us.
Segundo ele, terá sido um sacerdote do templo que escreveu sobre o tesouro. Poderia o enorme templo construído por Herodes ter contido as riquezas descritas no manuscrito? Para saber de que têmpera era feito o rei Herodes, vou ver um dos seus mais grandiosos projetos de construção no mar Mediterrâneo, onde ele não só construiu um templo, mas toda uma cidade, Cesareia, assim chamada em honra do aliado político de Herodes, César Augusto. A cidade tem um hipódromo de corridas, de brigas e de quadrigas com 38 mil lugares. Mas o aspecto mais impressionante de Cesareia fica na costa, onde Herodes construiu o maior porto da antiguidade. Só que não o vemos à superfície.
I'm going diving.
Oh, one too many falafel.
You just about ready to get wet?
No, I'm ready.
O mergulhador israelita Michael Green leva-me a ver o que resta da obra-prima de Herodes.
Oh, we're going to go to the entrance towers to the harbor.
You can actually see over my shoulder how far away from shore we are. We're about a quarter mile out. And that gives you a sense of perspective how massive this thing was. 2,000 years old. You don't want to have that thing land on you when you're diving.
Sendo arqueólogo marinho, é aqui que me sinto realmente à vontade. O porto é uma arca de tesouros arqueológicos. Não se consegue nadar em lado nenhum sem ver enormes blocos, colunas que ruíram e cerâmica partida. O gigantesco molhe foi erigido com uma invenção dos romanos, cimento hidráulico. Uma mistura de cinza vulcânica e cal, que debaixo d'água endurece. O cimento manteve até hoje a forma original. Este bloco enorme era o alicerce da torre sul do porto.
Oh my God. I think it's really the immensity, the scope and the scale of the place that struck me the most. Herod obviously built something that was enormous and almost unprecedented in his time.
O templo de Herodes pode mesmo ter albergado o tesouro referido no manuscrito? Mas se é esse o caso, para onde foi? Voltei a Jerusalém para explorar o que ainda existe do mundo que criou o manuscrito de cobre.
Congratulations. Your bar mitzvah? Yes, sure. Inside this box is a huge scroll.
Os manuscritos desempenharam um papel de relevo na fé judaica. Ler excertos do Torá está no cerne da cerimónia de Bar Mitzvah, realizada quando os rapazes fazem 13 anos.
I've never crashed a bar mitzvah before. She likes me.
Estas cerimónias realizam-se junto do famoso Muro Ocidental, o que resta do templo de Herodes o Grande. Estou a tentar investigar a teoria segundo a qual o tesouro do manuscrito de cobre saiu daqui e foi escondido por segurança antes dos romanos destruírem a cidade. Vou-me encontrar agora com uma especialista, a doutora Alison Scofield, que me leva por um túnel que conduz ao subterrâneo do antigo templo.
So how do you think they got the treasure out of the temple?
Well, we can't know for sure, but we do know that there was a massive network of secret tunnels underneath the Temple Mount. They were storing stuff there, so it makes sense that they may have taken it out that way as well. I wanted to show you some of these stones. These are called ashlar masonry, and they're enormous, and they're from the time of Herod's temple. So we're standing right now right outside the outer court of the temple. In fact, these here are actually the largest stones ever used for building in antiquity, up to 400 tons apiece. Now, see this outer dressing? You can see there's like a stamp. Each individual hand tool had to carve out this little design, and that was Herod's way of stamping his work.
Right, right.
Such a megalomaniac that he said, look, these stones are mine. It's safe to say that he was actually trying to protect what must have been a massive treasure inside of these walls.
So the treasure is secreted out of Temple Mount. Where's the first place they go?
Let me show you.
O nosso primeiro destino fica perto do Monte do Templo.
So here's an interesting site known as Absalom's tomb.
Yeah.
And it's been mentioned in the Copper Scroll.
Under Absalom's monument on the western side, dig down 12 cubits, 80 talents of silver coins.
So right here, according to the Copper Scroll, beneath our feet, one of the caches of silver.
Right. What's better, we know that there's a cistern, a water tank, right underneath our feet, which would have been a great place to hide something because it's already dug out for you. It makes sense.
Mas os esforços para se encontrar um tesouro aqui não deram em nada. A Alison pensa que muitos dos locais mais obscuros referidos no manuscrito ficam no deserto entre Jerusalém e o Mar Morto. E há um local intrigante num vale isolado, num antigo trilho que conduzia a Jericó. Chama-se Wadi Kelt.
Oh, nice. This is amazing. And that's a monastery.
O mosteiro de São Jorge foi fundado por um ermita grego no século V.
The hermits, they would actually go and find these caves throughout the wadi and live there alone, sometimes for years at a time.
I guess if you're looking to get away from it all, you found the spot.
That's right.
What does this place have to do with the Copper Scroll?
It's mentioned that above the mouth of the spring.
At the wellspring of Koseba, dig down 3 cubits to the row of stones, 70 talents of silver coins, 2 talents of gold coins.
How much is a talent?
It's hard to know exactly because we weren't there and we can't weigh him. But we know that it was as much as a man could carry. So we think around 70 pounds.
So 4,900 pounds of silver.
Exactly.
And that is tough to just hide anywhere. One might assume that the silver would be hidden in the cliffs.
Oh, absolutely. Look around. I mean, there are thousands of caves.
And here we've got monks, and they're hanging out in caves. You think they would have ever come across the treasure?
It's highly possible, but we certainly haven't heard about it if they did.
They may just kind of say, oh, a little bit of silver, who cares? I'm going to meditate for a while and take off.
It is a nice monastery.
Yeah, exactly. How'd they pay for that?
É estranho, pois os monges estão aqui há 1500 anos e nunca fizeram referências a um tesouro.
Where else might the treasure have gone?
Well, since this was the major route out of Jerusalem, we would follow it, and it actually takes us back to the Dead Sea.
Não muito longe, esbarramos com as ruínas de Inefeshka. Agora árida e desabitada, já foi outrora uma próspera comunidade agrícola.
It's built right on an oasis, a large spring that goes into the Dead Sea. You can see it's built around a main courtyard.
So this is like the front entrance right here?
Right, so there was an entrance for people on our right, and those things that were impure, animals, other things would go through the other side.
Well, then what's the connection to the Copper Scroll?
Well, in the Copper Scroll, there's a mention of a hiding place, and it's called Beit Tamar, which in Hebrew means the house of the date palm.
Veio a saber-se que cultivavam palmeiras para fazer vinho de tâmaras.
This is where they would crush the dates, and this large stone would be how they would crush the dates. And then since this room is sloping, the juice would then go down through that little hole, that culvert, and into this next room.
So it's not too different from the way they make wine now. You
No.
crush the dates just like you crush the grapes and
Yes.
collect the juice. Might not be too bad a spot to hide treasure.
Again, it doubles as a great hiding place. There are not a lot of Romans wandering around here.
Poderá este lugar esconder ainda um tesouro enterrado? Estamos a poucos quilómetros da gruta onde encontraram um manuscrito de cobre, nas ruínas de Inafesca. Para tentar encontrar alguma coisa aqui enterrada, trouxemos um dos instrumentos preferidos dos arqueólogos.
Well, we're doing ground penetrating radar, so we're looking into the ground without actually having to dig.
Can I give it a shot?
Absolutely.
All right, grab here, and drag it back. All right. So this is a much easier way to find out what's underground than what I'm used to, which is shovel and trowel. Hopefully we'll get some usable data out of this.
Yep, it will be. Take it back in the middle of the road.
Right here.
Esta foi a parte mais difícil. Agora segue-se a análise dos dados.
So did we actually find something?
Yeah, we did find a really great anomaly, which we can't even see from the surface. This is about 2 meters below our excavated surface right here. So we found this sloping layer right here. And next to it, we have these nice straight layers. So it'll give you a 3-dimensional grid so we can see what it really looks like under the ground.
Is it a natural feature or is it man-made?
We can't confidently say until we ground truth.
So when you say ground truth, you mean we got to get out there with the shovels and the trowels
Get
and
out
see what's
there
down
with
there?
the shovels and dig and use our good earned sweat.
And so is this the treasure down there, you think?
Maybe. What do you think? I guess we'll have to see.
Get the shovels.
Infelizmente, hoje não há escavações. Como é compreensível, as autoridades israelitas não as facilitam. Bem como a linguagem críptica do manuscrito de cobre, começo a interrogar-me se os autores alguma vez esperaram recuperar o seu tesouro.
Do you think that they actually intended to collect it?
I definitely think they did. In fact, they tell us right on the scroll that there's another scroll with all of the good details of where to find the treasure.
A copy of this inventory, its explanation and details of every hidden item, are in the dry underground cavity that is in the smooth rock north of Kolit.
So actually, there's another clue that could lead to the treasure somewhere lost still in the desert.
Yes. It's just if we ever will be able to find it.
Após um dia que nos deixa de mãos vazias, é fácil sentirmos-nos frustrados. De volta a Jerusalém, fazemos uma curta pausa. Mas nesta cidade antiga, custa fugir do mundo do manuscrito de cobre.
Well, it has been a bazaar for over 2,000 years. So if you look around, not too much has actually changed.
Pomegranate, right?
Yeah.
He's going to crush it right here, and it's healthy. Yes. All right, give it a whirl.
Oh. You know, in the Bible, it compliments women who have lips like pomegranates.
Is that right?
I can see why.
Whoa.
Good.
That is. It's a little bit like cranberry juice. And this is straight pomegranate.
This is nothing but pomegranate.
It's like intravenous pomegranate.
This is danger, like, stain fest.
Yeah, I know.
Don't spill it on you.
Whoa.
Weesh. Oh, my goodness.
Sorry. The Israeli Antiquities Authorities maintain a tight control over who does and who doesn't get a permit to excavate here. With a little luck, you can make it happen.
Esta escavação no Monte Sião prossegue todos os verões, sob a co-direção do arqueólogo Shimon Gibson.
You've been busy.
We have been, yes. 4 weeks and we've accomplished a lot. Look down here. Look at this amazing 3-meter-high arch.
Oh, wow.
See the arch with a mosaic floor at the bottom?
That is incredible.
Intact.
What time period are we looking at there?
Well, this dates from the Byzantine period. So we're talking about something which is 1,500 years old, Byzantine.
A mosaic floor, 1,500 years old.
And we have here remains from different periods. Byzantine and Second Temple period, which is going back 2,000 years. The walls that you see today are the medieval walls, so they surround the medieval town of Jerusalem. But in the time of Herod the Great and all the way up to Islamic times, this was actually the ancient city.
Really?
The walls surrounded this entire area. So in reality, we're in the heart of the city.
So 2,000 years ago, this is downtown Jerusalem.
Not only was it downtown Jerusalem, but it was uptown Jerusalem, because here the high and mighty lived, the priests, the aristocrats, the well-to-do.
Could we go take a look
Let's
at what
go
they're
and have a
doing?
look down there, yeah.
Os níveis mais profundos da escavação são do século I, o tempo de Jesus Cristo.
This is a coin.
Yeah, great.
Can I touch?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. You can scrape it with your fingernail, whatever you want.
No, I wouldn't suggest that. Until it's cleaned.
A coin.
All right.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Esta casa senhorial tinha na cave uma câmara de banhos rituais.
So these blocks were put in place.
And roughly at the time of Jesus. It's quite stunning, isn't
It is
it?
incredible. Finding a chamber like this says something about how much there is to be found underground in Jerusalem. And there really could be anything down here.
And Jerusalem is really a honeycomb of caves and tunnels and underground chambers of one sort or another. And so it's just all there, just waiting for us to excavate it.
So Shimon, what do you think? The treasure listed in the Copper Scroll, is it real?
It's definitely real.
You don't think it was just like a 2,000-year-old practical joke? Was there that much treasure here in Jerusalem? I mean, where is this treasure coming from?
Well, I think Jerusalemites were very, very wealthy. It's such a lot of treasure that it had to belong to the elite.
Outra teoria a considerar. O Shimon pensa que o tesouro não terá vindo do templo.
I think you have a consortium of rich people in Jerusalem, or perhaps even from the surrounding area, getting together and then burying at secret locations. They have a scribe who's sitting there recording it all and putting it onto the scroll, and those who are in the know knew how to decodify this plaque on the one hand, and also knew where this copper scroll was being kept. Maybe there were copies. Maybe every family received a copy, and we're just lucky that we found one. But maybe there were, I don't know, 100 of them.
Sure.
And so each family received a copper scroll indicating where their treasures were located. I don't know. There's clearly a code there, and it annoys me. I really would like to crack the code.
You have just made the mystery so much more complicated and confusing for me.
E o puzzle não se fica por aí. Recentemente foi escavado um local que muitos creem ser referido no manuscrito, mas que só reforça o enigma. Estou na pista do que talvez seja a maior lista de tesouros enterrados de toda a arqueologia. Os locais mencionados no manuscrito de cobre permanecem um mistério, mas o primeiro aponta para um lugar no Vale de Acor.
In the fortress of the Valley of Acor, under the steps with the entrance at the east, a strong box of silver and its vessels, 17 talents by weight.
Muitos académicos pensam que Acor é este deserto extenso situado entre Jerusalém e o Mar Morto.
It also happens to be a firing zone for the Israeli military.
No Monte Hircânia, encontram-se as ruínas de uma fortaleza usada pelo rei Herodes. Abaixo delas está um misterioso conjunto de degraus que alguns pensam serem os descritos no texto do manuscrito. Encontro-me com os arqueólogos Yaakov Kalman e Avner Ecker.
Glad to have found you. You wouldn't want to get lost out here. Where's the tunnel?
I'll show you.
So how is this place connected to the Copper Scroll?
This is the ravine leading into the Valley of Achol, mentioned in the first 3 lines of the scroll, according to the scholarly recognition of it.
Este lugar foi descoberto nos anos 50, coberto por 2000 anos de sedimentos arrastados pela água.
We came here in the year 2000 with a permit from the Antiquity Authority, and we start legally excavating it.
Tal como descrito no manuscrito de cobre, existe um lanço de escadas no Vale de Acor, que entra pelo leste. A escavação arrastou-se por um período de 4 anos.
So what were some of the challenges of excavating here?
The main challenge was to haul the dirt out. The problem is that only 2 persons can actually do the actual digging, and it's two other person behind them used to fill up the bags and tie them to the rope.
Pretty tight squeeze. I mean, at this point, you can't even. Whoa, you all right?
Yeah, I'll be all right.
So somebody, or whoever, whatever team it was, clearly spent a lot of time.
Yeah, that's an organized project of a king, or it's not a private project, that's for sure.
Right.
We have a drawing from Egypt, people using a skin blower.
They were pumping air down here.
Yeah, they were pumping. I don't have any doubt about it. It's no way that a person can work without the supply of air.
That's incredible, 2,000-year-old pumps.
Yeah.
Durante a escavação, a equipa não parou de limpar o cascalho que enchia as escadas, descendo cada vez mais a falésia. Até que aos 91 metros, o túnel se alarga para um espaço mais amplo e divide-se em dois ramos.
We were facing a choice, into which one we should go first, and after some debate, I think we went into this one first. And this is where it gets to.
This is the end of the road right here?
Bedrock.
So 4 years later, 300 feet plus down, what do you find?
Well, we found the tunnel.
No treasure?
No treasure, nothing.
It's getting a little hard to breathe. Should we
We had
relocate?
yeah.
It's hot, it's stuffy, it's over 300 feet deep, and there's nothing there. This is always how you end your desert excavations?
Yeah.
Depois de tanto exercício, são horas de recuperar com uma tradicional refeição do deserto.
We'll dig for food?
Yeah, exactly.
And we hunt for the dig. You have to realize that in archaeology, even finding nothing, it means something.
Now you know that there's nothing there. Otherwise, you would have left, you would have died wondering. Always wishing you had spent 4 years digging the tunnel out.
Exactly.
What in the world could it have been used for?
It may have been some monumental work. It could be a tomb. It could be some kind of waterworks that we don't understand.
Waterworks.
It can be a safe for money or treasures that are connected somehow with a fortress up top.
It's a project that's been stopped abruptly, out of finance or out of a change of a king or whatever, or some sort of a war.
So you don't think it was ever finished?
It's never been finished, to my idea.
Do you think there's anything still down there?
I think yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm the minority.
O sítio parece condizer com a descrição do manuscrito. O Avner leva-me escada acima até um forte com 2000 anos chamado Kirbet Mird.
See some Herodian walls over there. You can see this is the wall of a monastery. And we were talking about the value of Achol in the Copper Scroll. So
There it is.
there it is.
Tile floors.
Yeah, these mosaics are 5th, 6th century mosaics.
It's held up pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Pensa-se que Herodes usava este forte para aprisionar os seus escravos.
Why would Herod have wanted to build here?
Well, actually, we're sitting on the way between Jerusalem and the Dead Sea. This is a stronghold guarding that road and whatever traffic is between Jerusalem and the Dead Sea, which was a very live area at the time. Is it the place of the Copper Scrolls? I can't tell you it is or it isn't.
It kind of points in this direction, that there's a good chance this is it.
It is a good chance. Of course, we didn't find any talents of silver to say that this is it, but you cannot speak about the Copper Scroll without mentioning this site.
Right.
These two go together.
Será mesmo? Há tantas ruínas em Israel. E há mais uma teoria a verificar. Estaria o manuscrito a referir-se a um lugar à vista de todos, o tempo todo? $50 anos após a sua descoberta, o manuscrito de cobre continua a desafiar os que procuram resolver os seus enigmas. Eu, inclusive.
So no treasure has ever been found at any site that seems to match a description on the scroll.
Mas alguns pensam que isso é porque o lugar mais óbvio foi ignorado. Qumran. perto da gruta em que encontraram o manuscrito de cobre. Alguns académicos acham que o manuscrito deve ter sido gravado em Jerusalém, mas outros sugerem que os autores viviam aqui. Os arqueólogos têm discutido a natureza de Qumran. Era uma fortaleza, uma comunidade agrícola ou uma fábrica de cerâmica? A maioria está de acordo. Durante o século I habitava um grupo misterioso conhecido por Essenes. Para saber mais sobre eles, volto a encontrar-me com a doutora Alison Schofield.
This was a group of Jews who were waiting for the end of the world. They were obsessed with purity, and they were obsessed with living the law exactly the way they thought the law should be lived out. This is one of the ritual baths known as a mikveh.
King-size tub.
Right. And if you see these little marks that go down the stairs, they actually divided the impure stairs with the pure stairs. You want to make sure you don't retrace your steps. If you're impure going down one side, you want to come up the clean side.
Num triste golpe do destino, a previsão dos Essenes, no que toca ao fim dos dias, consumou-se.
We see evidence right here that the Romans actually did come in battle and, of course, won. They wiped out the Essenes.
Alison pensa que os Essenes são os autores do manuscrito de cobre. Bem como o mais improvável especialista nos manuscritos de que já ouvi falar, Jim Barfield.
Where are you from?
I'm from Oklahoma. I'm certainly not an archaeologist.
No?
No, I'm a retired firefighter.
Really?
Yeah, assistant fire marshal, investigator. And I've been interested in the Dead Sea Scrolls since about '93 and been studying them a lot.
Now you're out here in the Middle East, huh?
Yeah, it's great. This is an amazing country, buddy.
Na sua secretária em Oklahoma e sem formação académica, Jim pôs tecnologia moderna e a sua perícia e investigação ao serviço da resolução dos enigmas do manuscrito de cobre.
It says under the ruins in the Valley of Akor. So I went to the Valley of Akor. I looked at the only set of ruins that I was familiar with, and it was Qumran. First location says that at the steps heading east, 40 cubits is silver vessels. About 17 talents of it, which is quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
And this is the set. These are the only steps at Qumran that head east.
Really?
The rest of them head north and south. These are only ones that go east. And they're exactly 40 cubits long.
Coincidence?
Well, at first I thought it was, could be.
Yeah.
But then as I matched the others, like whenever we'd lift fingerprints during an investigation, you looked for the match. More and more of these points began to converge and match up as I went through the whole copper scroll, which told me this really could be the place.
Interesting. So where's the second location?
Second location, it's just around the corner.
Take a look. So this is location 2?
Yeah, it is. 2 and 3, actually.
Okay, what makes you think this is the spot?
Well, the copper scroll says, in the great ruined courtyard of the peristyle.
In the plaster of its floor, concealed in a hole in front of the upper opening, 900 talents.
Peristyle is an enclosed court. Well, here's the courtyard, here's the peristyle, and it says at the uppermost opening. Well, this is where the water comes in. And this forms the largest cistern at Qumran, and that's what it says on the copper scroll.
Why would the Essenes, this ascetic Jewish sect, have all of this treasure here?
They thought money was like the root of all evil.
Right.
Well, who better to guard your gold and silver? It'd be like, having a eunuch guard your wife. You want somebody that's not going to be
right, somebody who has a vow of poverty.
They've taken a vow of poverty. So who better to guard the gold and silver?
How would they have come into such a huge fortune?
Honestly, I think that the gold, silver, and gems were from the time of Moses.
Embora esta ideia seja rejeitada pela maioria dos académicos, Jim pensa que o tesouro do manuscrito de cobre veio do tabernáculo de Moisés, que albergava as relíquias mais importantes da fé judaica, antes até de construírem o templo em Jerusalém. Jim pensa que antes de terem obrigado os Essenes a esconder o tesouro, estes guardaram-no aqui.
This would be the treasury.
Why do you think that?
It says the building with the sloping walls. The massive size of this, the thickness of the walls is just enormous. And building slopes, it's like a pyramid.
Yeah, it's like a truncated pyramid. What kind of treasure do you think they would have kept inside the treasury?
Oh gosh, massive quantities of gold, silver, gems.
In modern day value?
The best guesses that I've heard on how much the copper scroll has, $3 billion in gold and silver. Then the gems.
Yeah.
Who knows? I think it would dwarf that amount.
Really? So potentially tens of billions of dollars?
Potentially, yeah.
So based on your research, every location in the Copper Scroll is in Qumran?
All here, yeah, except for one.
Where's that?
That's about 300 yards from here.
Jim acredita que os vários locais que descobriu apontam para o derradeiro local descrito na relíquia. Escavações anteriores em Qumran não revelaram nenhum vestígio de riquezas. Mas quando Jim apresentou a sua teoria à autoridade das antiguidades de Israel, eles ficaram tão intrigados que concordaram com a sua escavação.
We dug here in April of this year.
So you get the permits and everything. I mean, it's hard to get permission to dig in Israel. What would you find?
Not a thing. But we just didn't go deep enough.
A autoridade das antiguidades cancelou os trabalhos. Mas o Jim está convencido de que um tesouro incrível jaz aqui enterrado. A teoria em que se baseia vem de um obscuro texto das Escrituras.
In 2 Maccabees, 2nd chapter, it talks about Jeremiah coming to this area, and he found a cave. He placed the altar of incense, the tabernacle itself, and the Ark of the Covenant inside of the cave. Then he buried the cave.
But those items, the tabernacle, the ark, the altar, that stuff isn't on the Copper Scroll.
No, this could be the greatest find ever. If it's here, that would just be incredible. There's a lot Israel would gain by digging this stuff up. Not to mention the gold and silver that's buried inside of the cave as well.
Just right down here, potentially.
Possibly.
Os arqueólogos mais considerados pensam que a teoria do Jim está completamente errada. Mas a sua paixão pelo manuscrito já levou a uma escavação. Agora, só lhe falta convencer as autoridades israelitas a desbloquearem os trabalhos. Mas qual é a verdadeira história codificada no manuscrito de cobre? Terá este texto críptico sido escrito por sacerdotes com o intuito de protegerem o tesouro do templo? Poderá ter sido uma fortuna escondida pelos cidadãos mais abastados de Jerusalém? Descreverá de facto relíquias sagradas do tempo de Moisés? Teriam os tesouros já sido recuperados há muito tempo? Ou estarão ainda por aí, algures?
Among the experts, nearly everything about the Copper Scroll is still in question, and until the day that somebody digs up the treasure, it will continue to be one of archaeology's greatest mysteries.
O que posso afirmar com certeza é que se a jornada é mesmo mais importante do que o destino, então o manuscrito de cobre é um guia de viagens sem paralelo. E a busca do tesouro que refere é uma janela fascinante para um mundo secreto.
Run! I think it broke down.
Nope, not yet.
I don't know. I hate this part. Whoa! Uh-oh, are we out of gas?
No, I smell gas.
It's been nice working with you. Whoa, hi.
There you go. I think you just turned it off. I think you did.
Thanks for showing me how it's done, but that one... Hi!